Hey guys, what's up? So it's been about 2 weeks since my first laser hair removal treatment, and I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick update on how things are going with that and what to expect. Alright, so in the first video right after the treatment, we talked a lot about what actually happens during the treatment and the hairs that are burned and come out during that process. I also spent a little bit of time talking about the fallout, which would kind of continue coming out over time. Now, I knew there was still a lot that was going to be coming out during the course of that day and into the evening, but I figured it would probably just all be done by the end of that night, because that's also what I was basically told to expect by the people at the clinic. Now, based on things I had heard and been told by other people who have been through this process, I knew that there would still be a few other little, hairs coming out here and there, but I wasn't actually prepared for exactly how much of it there actually is. And I really didn't know exactly what to expect the fallout to be like, so that's what today's video is mainly going to focus on. Alright, now when you're talking about laser hair removal, fallout are the burnt hairs that are going to be kind of coming out of your skin for a while after the treatment. These are the hairs that are not going to grow back again. Now, anytime you're going in for laser hair removal treatment, they generally have you go to at least 6 sessions, because it's never really possible to tell how many hairs are in the follicle when you go to any given treatment, and so you may end up with like 90% of the hairs removed in only one treatment, you may end up with only 10% removed in the first treatment, so on and so forth. It's really kind of random, but they figured out that after about 6 treatments, all the hair should be pretty much gone. Now, with my face, there were definitely some patches that you could see right after the treatment where the hair had already come out, where it was not going to be coming back. However, there were also, little few parts of those areas that still kept pushing hairs out for the next few days. Now, during this period of time, honestly, my facial hair situation looked worse than it ever has in my entire life. The burnt out hairs are very, very dark, and because they're coming out, you're actually seeing the roots, which are the thickest part of the hairs, coming out, so it really looks really thick and bad and horrible. What I didn't know is just how much of the hair that was coming back out actually was fallout that was just going to take forever and a half to actually get all the way out. So basically, starting a little less than a week ago, so about 10 days after the initial treatment, I started just having fallout pushing out of my face like crazy. Like, I would shave and I would notice that a lot of the hairs were not getting cut. That's a pretty easy way to identify the fallout, because the razor's not going to really cut through those. They're damaged and they're just, going to basically bend out of the way. Now, the bad news with that, obviously, if they're really tough to get out with a razor, is that, you're going to end up with these hairs that are just kind of sticking out of your face once you've gotten all the other hairs shaved. The good news is that once they've gotten to that point where they're that visible, they're generally about ready to come out anyway. Now, I cannot stress how much you want to be careful with this. You do not want to use tweezers, because of the fact that you could accidentally end up plucking a hair that is not actually fallout, but a hair that's in there, and that could just mess up the whole process. Basically, it's going to take a really long time for a live hair that you pluck to grow back, but it will grow back, and you may just end up having it miss throughout all of your laser hair removal treatments, which would be horrible. But a lot of times when they get to that certain length, you can actually just take and grab them between your fingers and just pull them out. As a matter of fact, in a lot of cases, you don't even have to do that much. It can be as simple as just grabbing a towel and running it over your face, or in some more severe cases, grabbing like a facial buff and just doing some exfoliation. Now, as far as what that looks like, if you look at my face, you can actually see some of these like really darker hairs that are a little bit longer and kind of poking out there that didn't get caught when I was shaving this morning, and those are the fallout hairs, which are probably going to be coming out on their own sometime later on today. And this keeps going for days and days and days. It's actually really satisfying. It's like every time they're coming out, it's just like that one step closer, and you realize it's like that's one more hair that won't come back, and it's just really, really exciting to kind of be able to start to see the skin without the shadow underneath, and just, feel so much just happier and more feminine. It's definitely a lot smoother as well now, which is really, really nice. And shaving has gotten a lot easier. Now, my facial hair is something I've always been extremely dysphoric about. Like, my dysphoria in regards to my facial hair is honestly about as bad as my dysphoria in regard to my genitals. The good news is that even with the hair that's still growing in, even just after this one treatment, I am so much alleviated at this point, it's not even funny. So for those of you who suffer a lot of dysphoria because of your facial hair, wondering whether or not laser hair removal is something that you want to make a priority, I definitely would. Now, it is pricey, but it's really not horribly expensive compared to a lot of the other treatments we go through. Generally, most people are going to be good with about 6 treatments, and each treatment at most places will generally cost between $200 and $300. Now, total that, of course, course adds up to about between $1,200 and $1,800, which is a lot of money all at once, but when you think about the fact that it's going to be broken down into one visit every 4 weeks, it makes it a lot more manageable. Now, I know in a lot of cases, especially with all the unemployment and job discrimination we face, that's still out of range for quite a few people. Trust me, I know, being self-employed, I could never afford that. It basically would have been taking up my entire monthly income every month. In my area, I was lucky enough that we actually do have a trans-friendly laser and aesthetics clinic that actually provides Groupons for sessions when they're bought in groups. So my facial hair removal is actually only costing about $280 total for the full 6 sessions, period. Now, obviously, whether or not you can find a deal like that is going to be very dependent on your area and what the clinics in your area are offering, but my point is that before you decide that laser hair removal is too expensive an option for you right now, you definitely want to take the time to actually do your research and check it out and see what you may be able to find. Now, I don't know a lot about what's in other areas all over the place, but I do know that in Pensacola, East Hill Laser and Aesthetics actually does offer Groupon rates for like almost any type of hair removal, from small areas, medium areas, which would be like the face, all the way up to full body. So if you're in the Pensacola or surrounding area and you need to get hair removal done, that's the place I would recommend. And if you know of a trans-friendly laser hair removal clinic in your area that offers discounted rates for multiple sessions, please be sure to post it in the comments and where it is so that other trans people can find out where they can get their procedures done for the best price. As always, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, be yourself. So wouldn't it seem a bit weird if, like, the majority of people were offended by that? I mean, can you imagine for a moment if you asked someone what kind of guitar they had, and they asked you what the fuck you were talking about and tried to explain that they just have a guitar? Or if they explained that they didn't have an electric guitar, but it wasn't an acoustic guitar either because it was just a normal guitar? What if you were working at a guitar store and a customer saw all the electric guitars and decided to ask where the real guitars were? But if you found them an acoustic guitar and it was sitting